Hi. Hi, and welcome to my podcast, Discover This. This week, we'll be talking about the need for sustainable progress and how to get there easily. Furthermore, we'll be touching on topics such as feminism and, of course, French weddings. And so, I have with me Victoria Martin. Victoria is a computer engineer and a recent graduate in operations and supply chain at Trinity College, Dublin. She has keen interest in sustainability and uses her skill set to improve the field. We have worked together in numerous projects, and so to describe her, I would say she's the type of person who is fun to be around with, but when it gets to the serious bit, she's the one to count on for. So, welcome to this episode, Victoria. Glad to have you.
Hi, Akhil. Thank you very much for the introduction. That's very nice.
So, to start off, let me know about what you're working on. What are you up to these days?
So right now I'm working on getting a plan for my future, trying to find a job, but I'm actually in Spain taking some Spanish course, also to like learn something new that I don't know. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm in Sevilla and I'm enjoying the sun, which is
Yes.
good because I mean compared to last year being in Dublin where it was really rainy, right now it's a shock. Like it's 21 degrees every day. But it's really nice. Very
Well,
appreciable.
compared to that, it's definitely better. The sun, the people. It's like you're perpetually in a vacation.
Yeah, it's actually what I'm doing. But
Yes.
I'm having lessons. Like
Uh-huh.
I have 5 hours of Spanish every day,
It
which is
seems like an excuse to be there.
yeah.
So let's get down to business now. We'll talk about sustainability. Like, what exactly interests you to sustainability? What do you mean by sustainability? What does sustainability mean to you?
Um, I feel like for me, why I'm very interested by sustainability is because right now we're not getting really good with the like everyone knows scientific says and like it's something like common on that global warming is going to be a very like will have very big impact on humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very concerned about all those topics, and I want to work in something related to sustainability because I feel like we can still do something. For me, sustainability is more like something related with sobriety, like
Mm-hmm.
trying to reduce your consumption and try to consume
Mm-hmm.
what you need, but only what you need, for giving the opportunity for the future generation to
Mm-hmm.
have a proper life.
Mm-hmm.
But it also means that, like right now, as the 10%, the wealthiest that are consuming up to 45% of the
Resources.
energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also a better repartition of wealth over the world, and that is my understanding of sustainability. It's like really about being more sober in our consumption, but also having a better repartition. That's what how I understand it.
Okay. So, like, this concept is fairly, well, I wouldn't say new, but fairly uh, something that we don't talk about much from where I come from. So, like, I come from a developing country, and most of us, we talk about sustainability as a luxury. It's like, um for us,
Oh,
consumption, we consume modestly, like at least for the past so many years. So I'm like thinking sustainability is related to less consumption, or is it related to like more recycling, more renewable usage of renewables? So what
I,
does sustainability like actually relate to, if you
I
want to
think
say?
that like the word sustainability is more like a effect
Uh-huh.
because actually in the past before the industrial revolution we were actually more sustainable and we were into circular economy. Everyone were like every people were recycling everything, so you had like you could bought something and every part of what you were buying was going to be reused, and you had also work for that, like you had proper worker to recycle and for that type of circular economy. I guess that in your case, because you're coming from a developing country, you actually like do this type of circular economy process,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something like that always been here, and it's not the wow effect of the word sustainability that is actually for already for already developed country. For us, I mean, for us that are European or all the Occidental, we are consuming way too much. I know that like for American people, they if everyone was consuming as the American people, it would be like 5 Earth to like
If everyone consumes like how an average American consumes, we need like 4 or 5 times the
yeah.
resources that we
But
have.
it's also the same for France. Like we have, like we consume at least double of the Earth per year if everyone was consuming the same. So we just need to be more, yeah, sober in our consumption way and
Mm-hmm.
try to think about how, like, if you need to buy something, like, do you really need it? Is it really necessary that you're buying this new jean, or is it something that you can avoid because you have already 5 jeans and there you're not using it every day?
Okay, that's where I do have a problem. Like, I've been thinking about this really carefully. Like, is consumption really the issue here? Because if we curb on consumption, there's a lot of industries depending on continuous consumption, like the clothing industry, for instance. So if we consume less, there's less jobs for people who make them, and then their livelihoods are at a at a loss. So I would say, like, mm, the last thing these people would be thinking about is sustainability. What they want is like to sustain themselves. So,
I I hear you, but maybe like if there is less consumption for textile, there will probably be a need for something else. And in the transition towards circular economy or towards sustainability, I'm pretty sure that they will emerge a lot of different work that we have no idea right now. But
mhm,
I guess that new works will arrive, and those people could work in something else.
okay.
And it's not because their frame now is like that that it can't change. And I guess that there will be some emerging opportunities
Mhm,
changing our way of consuming
okay.
because it's always moving.
Right. But these workers, would they be able to like use the same skill set to work in those new industries? Like, that's the question.
Yeah, it's also something I can't answer, but
Yeah.
I would say that anyway, we will have to change, and it's changing right now. Like we are starting to change. Um, I know that a lot of companies now integrate their CSR strategy into their operations. So
Mhm,
it's actually changing also the way of the operation. So it means that also the people that are operating right now, they have to change their way of doing things. Like
mhm,
for instance, I was doing my internship in a plant back in France,
mhm,
and the aim was to implement circular economy process within a factory on secondary and tertiary packaging. But it meant like the way it was done before is like you buy your components, you buy your packaging, and then at the end of the line, you're like all the components together, you put it in a box that you bought before. Now we're changing it and we are reusing old packaging,
mhm,
but also means that the operation on the lines has to change because when you are on the warehouse, it has to change. Like when you have a cupboard, you then have to stock it in a buffer,
mhm,
which was not the same. Like it wasn't like that before. Before they had the proper place for the new packaging, and like the in the warehouse.
mhm,
Sorry, it's hard to explain myself. And now we're like when I had to do it, we had to change all the way people were doing things,
mhm,
and obviously people are not happy because it's new task, it's new way of doing thing. but actually in the end it works. So I guess that people will be able to adapt also for a new way of working.
Okay. Well, that's a systematic change from like the ground up, like the change in operations, the change in small bits and pieces here and there that extrapolate to like big changes when it comes to the final product. And uh, like there's a great incentive for that too. Like, and so there are many companies that, sorry, there are many companies that take a greenwashing approach towards this. Like there's a huge market in seeing sustainable. And so how would you say that systematic changes are much more in place than the greenwashing approach?
Ah, no, I think that there is a bigger approach of greenwashing than systematic change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I did my internship at Schneider Electric, which is considered as one of the most sustainable company, at
Mm-hmm.
least in France. So I don't know for other country. And it's quite like like when you get to know it, you're like, wow, if that is one of the most sustainable company, what are doing the others? Because everything was like about money. So you
Uh-huh.
could propose something. It was going to cost too much. We won't go for this solution because even though it could have been a very great solution, making things work really good, we wouldn't go because it's just not worth it.
Right.
So I guess that for a lot of company, because they don't want to inject too much money in their operation for turning to sustainability or sustainable development, it's easier for them to just like try to paint in green something and say, oh yeah, that's fine, we're sustainable, look, we did some green like H&M or I don't know, like Primark, they have some green lines like on the for the clothes.
Mhm.
It's very easy to do it. You just bought something, it looks good, and you look like a green company.
Tell us more about the internship. Like, how were you, how as a company and how as an individual were you able to like get towards the sustainability goals that were set in the company?
It was a little bit. So my internship was in Schneider, in one of Schneider Electric, but in a small plant in Normandy, so in the north of France. Um, that was actually quite challenging because the thing is, being a plant, you're just a national from the supply chain. So I was depending on the suppliers from the upstream,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a distribution like internal to Schneider downstream.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that I had to deal with the suppliers that could be internal but also external, and I had to deal also with the distribution center, and making it work on a circular economy. It's very hard because it means that we all have to be like working in the same direction, while dealing also with your own environment. So for instance, for the plant I was in, we could implement the circular economy as it was applicable in our case, but then we had to depend also on how the distribution center could work,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to deal with many different company, like many different plant from internal to Schneider, but also deal with their own environment where they had to like implement a circular economy loop. So it's very challenging to move and to like to change all the process that are already existing
Mm.
and changing it to a new process. It's just it takes a long time, a long time. I don't know if I answered your question. It was
Yeah,
like
it's like it's hard to channel all the efforts to a single goal when there are different goals for people along the supply chain. So a company A might have a different goal compared to company B. So the cooperation is hard to get at. That's
yeah.
what I understood. Yeah. And so, um, well, I want to go back to a point you mentioned earlier, like in terms of consumption, like we need to consume only what we need. Well, I'm thinking more like, is there another way around? it's like we can't survive without consuming. We can consume less, but consumption at the very least is a given. With like burgeoning population, like the population is going to increase, and so with the same amount of resources that everyone takes at a in a sum, it'll be much more. And I don't for a fact believe that the population is going to increase anymore. It's going to collapse in a few years. But I'm saying like intrinsically at the very base of it, humans as a species need to consume, extract resources from the environment in order to survive. So there's no two way about it. It's just, as you said, it's we should be much more efficient so that we don't waste resources while we are consuming. And also, I believe that we need to make sure that the impact is offset. And that's what I think would wrap up this issue of sustainability. We'll make sure that we give more than we take.
But it's going to be hard though.
Yeah.
Like to be carbon neutral is already something, but then to be carbon positive, it's going to be a huge, like it's going to be a lot of work. But I have hope for that we are going to make it. That's my goal, at least.
Right. So we'll move to some lighter topics. So I know you've recently attended a French wedding, and I'd like to know how was it like, and how different is it? How different are French weddings to other European weddings?
To be honest, I have no idea. I've
No.
never been to any weddings outside of France, and that was my first wedding since a very, very long time. Those weddings, like, I don't know, the weddings I've been to, and it's not representative of French weddings, I guess, because so I come from the north part of France, and it's quite traditional. So how it was is then that first in the day, so it was more on the weekend. So on the first day, on Saturday, it was the wedding day. The wedding day. So we went to the mayor because you have to sign papers there to say like to tell the state that you're going to get married. Then after that, you go to the church. This is optional. I mean, my friends were like they wanted to marry at the church, but that's optional. Like not everybody in France goes to the church. After the church, you have something called vin d'honneur, which is kind of a cocktail where you invite everybody that went to the church, but not all the people, like all the people that will be during the night, like during the party in the night, are invited at that thing, but not everybody in the cocktail are going to go to the night. It's just like you invite like your neighbors, like not the people you want to see at the party, but the people that like you want to share with them and show like you want to share with them, but it's not the closer people to you. And then after that you have the night. So you usually eat really well. You usually like drink really well, have fun, dance, and it's a very emotional moment also because you know like like there will be a lot of speech, a lot of animation, and it's actually really nice. And my friend had weddings in castles, which was like really
romantic.
It was a little bit magical.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was nice. And then on the next day we had the brunch. So when you wake up you have the brunch. And then you just have like you just enjoy your day doing whatever, like playing games. It's just a chill day, but a chill day with nice outfit. Yeah, better outfit than chill days, usual chill days.
So usually it's a 2-day wedding.
That's not usual, but because I guess that for the older generation, like it was only for 1 day. It's just that it's starting to be the new trend, and I guess that people are like that now. Okay,
interesting. And so.
But probably it's the same here. Like it's the same in Ireland. I have no idea. I've never been to any wedding outside of France.
Yeah, you need to.
I wish I still invite me when you get married. I want to see something different.
Yeah, yeah, you get to know more about the culture and the way people do things when you go to weddings because it's all for display.
That's true. That's true.
That's one of the reasons I asked you. Like, I can't like ask about. I could, of course, but then I'll hit the point more when I ask about the French wedding rather than French cuisine or French culture, so on. So,
Yeah, and I think it's hard also to explain a culture,
hmm
or yeah, I think it's hard because it's something that you don't even notice. It's like very inconscient like process. You're doing thing without thinking. It's just cultural.
it's so integrated. And
Yeah.
when you say this is how you do things, that's when you think about things like why.
Yeah, like for instance, you ask for hot water, like when you drink, you take hot
Yes.
water because in India it's how you drink water, and for me it's like, whoa, that's so strange.
Yeah, like everywhere we go to, like restaurants in India, we ask for hot water or tea. And when I came here, for the life of me, I couldn't understand why people have cold water all the time.
And for me, it doesn't make sense to ask for hot water. That's just cultural. It's just we are used to it like that. And probably I would be born in India, I would ask for hot water also.
True. And so I don't want to miss this opportunity to ask you a really contentious issue. Well, it's not an issue, but yeah, it's something I want to know with clarity. And so
Yeah,
I know you support the feminism movement, like the
yeah,
idea, the concept. So for me, it's an idea I couldn't wrap my head around because I see feminism as based on the pretext that men and women are equal. But I don't believe in that. I don't believe men and women are equal. What I do believe is that they are different and they have different needs. And so men and women should be treated with equity, like fairness instead of equality. And what do you think about that?
I'm not really sure I have the difference between equity and equality. And I hear your point.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, I, the thing is, in feminism, there is different way of thinking. In my case, for instance, I just fight for women and men to be considered as general humans. Like for me, you should just come to a man and come to a woman, like treating them in the same way, and not like treating women differently than men, because it's so frustrating when you are in a meeting and you feel that only men's will be listened, and one like, and as a woman, like your voice is not as valuable as a man.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, for me, I see feminism more as an educational thing,
Mm-hmm.
like because the inequality right now are more like from the society. It's something very like very strong. We have it like since 1,000 years, so it's really strong in our cultures. The thing is, for instance, when you educate men, like young boy, and when you educate women, as the young ladies, you don't ask for the same thing. Like you ask men to be strong, and you ask the woman to be pretty. So in your mind, like it will have a lot of consequences, because as a woman, if you're just like the only thing that you we are expected to be is just to be pretty, which is not like right now in our society now. It's not like it's not necessary that to be only pretty. Like if we have a brain, we can use it. We can be as good as men, and we can like do it as much, like we can work as much at them, especially for consulting or those type of work. I don't. It's true that men are more strong
Mm-hmm.
than women. That's true, but there is no point to treat it differently. I don't know if you understand. I don't know if I'm clear in what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Oh, I do get your point. Like, mm, And, and to be honest, like for me, I believe like you should be judged based on the quality of your work. So no matter
Yeah,
where you're from or which race you are or which gender you are, you should be judged by how productive or the final quality of the work. And it goes without saying, like, the quality of the work should decide the pay. And so,
Yeah, and not yeah, but in the same way, for instance, I know that as an IT engineer, I negotiate less when I ask for my first salary
yeah.
than my fellow colleagues. Like they ask for more money than I had, and that it's both the thing. It's both the same. Like women in general are less confident in themselves, whereas
Mm,
men feels more confident. So they will ask, like they will be more pushy to get more money. Whereas for us, it's also we have to be re-educated to be more like confident in ourselves to ask more because we actually like we deserve more.
yeah. Uh, I'll give you an instance where I like to like better illustrate and just to see how it works in the context of real life, like in a practical sense. So I used to work at a restaurant, and
Yeah,
I had a colleague of mine, a female colleague, who has the same position I do. But even though we have the same sort of responsibilities, since she's female and I'm male, we tend to do different things. So we work as kitchen assistants. So we do
yeah.
basic preparation of food. We make sure that the machines and the utensils and everything are organized and so on. But whenever inventory comes in, there's a lot of heavy lifting to do. And instead of she going, I'll be the one going and doing inventory counts and making sure everything's according to the paper. While whenever there's some customer who makes problems, or if there's a customer who wants a specific dish, she's the one in charge of it. So it's like there's a difference in roles, I would say, even though we have the same position, because we are tapping into the innate ability as a male, as a female, in
I'm
order
not
to
sure I
be.
agree. I see your point, but do
Mhm.
you think it's more because of your DNA, or do you think it's more about education?
Um, Well, it's a bit of both, I do believe, because I don't have an aptitude to like make good dishes or to make dishes look pretty.
Because you've never been taught to, like you never tried. So I guess that, and in the same way, like
Mhm.
she never been asked to carry everything, so probably it's the thing. Like if from a very young age you were educated to do the contrary, probably she would do it like as good as you were doing. I'm not really. I actually don't really believe that that type of things are just because of DNA. For me, it's more about education.
Okay. Hmm. I think we'll leave it there because I need to think really thoroughly about the things I say right now because I don't want to be called out for it.
No, but that's fine. It's just, but that's my opinion. But for instance, what I'm really fighting for is like the end of sexism in general. Like it's so annoying when you
Mhm.
are working somewhere and you have small comment on how you're dressed,
Uh-huh.
and we will always have like it happens a lot that you hear some comments of men sexualizing women also at work, and that's even if it's for joke, it's not funny. Like you don't have to be sexualized, and you will never sexualize a man the way we are sexualized as women, and that's something I'm really like fighting for. Is
Mhm.
please at least don't do it. It's not funny. And the
Mhm.
thing is also the worst is that if you're not like laughing at that type of jokes, you will be like the shy girl or the not funny one.
Mhm.
But still, I mean, it's not a funny joke. I don't
Right.
know if yeah.
I think it's a negotiative process, like the old order or the old way of thinking is being dismantled bit by bit, and a new system of thought and thinking is taking its place. So it's like we are trying to find out what works and what doesn't. So we
Yeah,
need to talk about this more. We need to think like clearly about what needs to be kept and what shouldn't. So it's like there's no one way of doing things, or
no,
there's
I
no
think it will be trade off anyway.
Hmm. And it's a it's an exciting time, although it's scary because I myself have a conservative temperament. Like, I can't take a lot of liberal values, although I acknowledge them, but I wouldn't like uh, put them at my forefront of thought. Like, I wouldn't like.
Yeah.
I like law and order. I like family, tradition, culture, that kind of stuff. So it's like there's so much many people can take.
Um, I I hear your point. I'm actually quite conservative also,
Mm,
but I feel that there are so many things we have to change because that type of behaviors are not acceptable. Like they be like I mean, for one, I guess that we can keep a traditional culture even though we are changing the relation between men and women and the hierarchy. Like instead of having the men there and the woman there, it could be like that.
mhm. Yeah, and I do believe most of the uh, most resilient cultures, economies around the world have men and women almost having the equal responsibilities. And that's what we need more in the world.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true.
mm. And so I think we'll end with that, yeah? And
Yeah.
before we close, I'd like to um, get a quote that you live by or a line that you live by, something
Uh,
for the audience.
I'm actually not really good with that. I don't have like there is a one from an American environmentalist called
Uh,
Paul Alkin, which is the first rule of sustainability is to align with natural forces, or at least try not to defy it. So
uh-huh.
that would be it's why I try what I try to follow really and try to do my best. Like whatever I just try to do my best in any case because and try not to give up.
Right.
That's yeah,
The
that's what
fight
I'm
goes
trying to
on.
do.
And it's worth the fight, especially in terms of the environment and in terms of the new um, system of thinking. It's,
Yeah,
it's a bright new world that we are stepping into. Scary, but exciting at the same time.
yeah. But it's going to be very challenging, but I'm sure that something will come out of it. I'm
Yeah.
quite sure. I'm quite confident for that.
So, with that, we come to the end of this episode. I hope you liked it. And if you do, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And so, until the next time, bye for now.